And I'm going to read another excerpt from the book. The more whole you feel, the less lack you experience, and therefore the less you want. When you create from a state of wholeness, there are only knowing and observing. This is the key to manifesting reality, being connected, not separate. When your consciousness merges or becomes more connected to the unified field, to the realm of wholeness and unity, there is no longer separation between 2 points of consciousness. This wholeness is then reflected in your biology, chemistry, circuitry, hormones, genes, heart, and brain, thus restoring balance to your entire system. A message of wholeness, and as a result, you become more holy. As I said, I'm going to do this book review. So I'm sitting down. I have a huge stack of my books that I've read. There's a lot that are missing, but this is going to be the ones that I think are worth sharing. So I'm going to start out with the one that is kind of the oldest in this collection, not the oldest, but the one that I've read the furthest back, which is Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. So this is a pretty good book when you're first getting into self-help and self-development. It is more of a spiritual take, and it's more about the ego and detaching from that view of yourself. So it's kind of like viewing yourself in 2 different parts. Instead of viewing yourself all as one, it's kind of like just be aware of the ego. It's all about awareness. So I do feel like this book is worth a read. It is quite repetitive. I do notice. I've read this book I think twice, and I've had my mom read this as well, and she also found it very repetitive. But Eckhart Tolle is a very good motivational speaker, and I feel like not really a motivational speaker, a very good motivator in terms of looking at situations from a different lens. So I would recommend this book. I just would say if you are already deep into your spiritual healing journey and your self-help, self-development, level up journey, then I would say maybe you would want to skip this book. But if you're just beginning and you want to get more into like the spiritual side of books, then I would pick this one up. This one is The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine and Aron, and she's a doctor. It says Ph.D. Okay, so this book is specifically for people that are HSP, so highly sensitive people, and empaths, so people that are just more sensitive to their surroundings. And in this book, it talks about the scientific evidence behind that and how those people are actually not just like, I don't know, like it's not just a random thing. Like these are actually like abilities that people have, and animals have them too, which I was surprised to read about. And then it just basically talks about how to navigate your life while being highly sensitive. So highly sensitive in the terms of like highly sensitive to different things. So it's not just like people's comments towards you. It's like lights, noises, like things that are just very like overstimulating to you, and how to navigate through that and how to not like collapse but thrive in an environment where you can't control your surroundings. If you are someone that's an HSP or you're an empath, I would definitely recommend reading this book. I know there's also the book Thriving as an Empath. I have not read that book, but I've seen people recommend it. And I guess I would be open to reading the audiobook or listening to the audiobook, but I don't know if I would buy that book because I don't really think I need a physical copy because I already have this book. And so I can always just reread this book if I need the help. But honestly, I feel like this book was all I need. And like, I don't really feel like I need to reach for it again right now. I feel like I'm already mastered the art of being highly sensitive. The next book, this is in no particular order. The next book is Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. This is the book I'm currently reading, and I did talk about this in a past video. This is a Stoic emperor of Rome. He's not a Stoic philosopher per se, but he is someone that was a ruler of Rome, an emperor of Rome, and he followed and admired a lot of Stoic philosophers and had a lot of Stoic philosophies written in this book. So this was like his journal. This was not really written as a book for people to read. He just wrote personal notes, and then after he died, it was discovered and published and all that stuff. So this book is very, very hard to read. The reading level is very hard. It's difficult. These two, I didn't even say the reading level is very easy on these. I would say this one is easier than this one. But this one is the most difficult book I've ever read. And what I like about this book is at the end, they have notes. The intro is kind of boring. We just have to get through it. And then we have book 1 to, I think it was book 12. Yeah, it's book 12. And then there's notes. So the rest of the book is notes. And you read, what I would do and what I would suggest to other people that are reading this book is to read the first book and then go to the notes and then read the notes. And then go back and now read book 2, and then read the notes. And you can always reread the same book over. The books per se are like the chapters. They're about like 5 to 6 to 7 pages, so they're pretty short. It's just very, very difficult to read because it's a different time when he was writing this. So that is Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, and I would definitely recommend this for people that have the time and want to dive into a book like this. But if you want to read a book that's really quick and get like fast information from it, then this is probably not the book for you. But if you have the time and you want to sit down and dive into this book and get really deep and make notes and reread and reread, then I would definitely choose a book like this because it's very interesting. Okay, so now we're going to switch courses and go into business books. So this one is The E-Myth, and I'm sure a lot of people have already heard of this book. It's very popular in the business and entrepreneurial community. This book breaks down why people that start their own business, why those businesses crumble and why those don't work out. And that's really what the title says. Why most small businesses don't work and what to do about it. And this is by Michael E. Gerber. I read this really, really quickly, so the reading level is very easy. Also, there's audiobooks online. There's audiobooks online of basically all books. So I read the book while listening to the audiobook. There's 3 parts to the book. So the first part is the E-Myth and American small businesses. The second part is the Turnkey Revolution, a new view on business. And the third part is building a small business that works. So he talks about what is the E-Myth, and it's this entrepreneurial myth that you can be just like one entrepreneur and you don't have to be like the worker and the manager, and that you're not all these different people at once, but you really are. Okay guys, I'm gonna look back on my notes because I wrote really good notes for these. Okay, so there's 3 people in this book that he refers to, and that's the manager, the technician, and the entrepreneur. So in a regular business, like say at a store, there's the technician, the person that's actually doing the job, like say like stocking the shelves, talking to the customers. Then we have the manager, and the manager is like in charge of all the technicians, in charge of like the systems in place. And then there's the entrepreneur, that is the one that put all the systems in place. So in your business, you have to make sure that you compartmentalize the jobs of entrepreneur, manager, and technician. So it's not enough to just be the technician. So in this book, he gives an example of some girl named Sarah, and she is running a business for pies, and she loves making pies. So that makes her a good technician, but she doesn't know how to run a business. So that makes her a bad manager. And then she also doesn't know how to put systems in place for the business. So that makes her a bad entrepreneur. But she needs to develop her skills in entrepreneurship and manager skills, because all of those are required when running a business. So that is basically what he goes over. And then he gives you a plan, a business development plan, or just business development program, as he words it. And it starts with like your primary aim. Then it'll go into your strategic objective, your organizational strategy, your management strategy, your people strategy, your marketing strategy, your system strategy. So he emphasizes having systems put in place that your manager self could control, I guess. So a theme that he likes to talk about is that you want to set up systems for your business to allow your business to run if you weren't even around. Like without you, can it still run because of these systems that you put in place? So that is what this book is about. And if you're not an entrepreneur, I would not recommend this book, because why would you read this? But if you have any type of business, or you want to start any type of business and you want to become better, this is a must read, because I feel like this is like everyone needs to read this book. And if they're going to start any type of like business or freelancing or whatever they're doing with their careers or entrepreneurship journeys. So that is that book. Next is The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. So this book is by Mark Manson, and this is a very easy read. It's written in a very easy format, like the wording, the style, it's very like casual. And this book is definitely better than I expected, because I guess I was judging the cover. I felt like it was just going to be super easy and not very deep. And it actually turned out to be deeper than I expected. It was actually a very, very good book. Lots of good ideas in here, and it's definitely worth rereading. What he highlights in this book is that we're all going to die, and that your life here is only as meaningful as you make it. It's all about not caring and just doing what you got to do, and like following your dreams and like finding your purpose. And he also talks about accepting responsibility for your life and your choices. And so I like how realistic it is and how like straight up and blunt he is in this book. So this book is good if you want like an entertaining book that kind of wakes you up. So I do like this book and would recommend this book. Okay, and the next book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book is the golden standard for the finance books. This is the book about more, instead of telling you like practical steps for finances, this is telling you the more spiritual side of finances and attracting wealth and how money is energy and the power of autosuggestion. And there's an entire chapter in here on autosuggestion. That's chapter 4. And this book emphasizes to reread this chapter 4, and really get the idea of autosuggestion, because that is basically what this book is trying to force you to understand, is that you have to change your self-concept of what money is. And a lot of my videos are kind of in the same realm of this idea that you suggest to yourself what you want to attract in a way. I feel like that is kind of how to reword this. I can read a couple things out because this book's actually really, really important. Like if you are making money in this world, which is everyone in the world, I would definitely suggest this book. So just a couple random parts that I highlighted. I'm just gonna kind of flip through. Ideas can be transmuted into cash through the power of definite purpose plus definite plans. Tell the world what you intend to do, but first show it. Another thing that in this book that's very, very important and I've started doing is have a mastermind group. So a group of people, and it's an imaginary group of people that you talk to and that you consult with. So you can put whoever you want in this group, people that you aspire to have like the same type of lifestyle as, or people that have your dream life, or people that you just look up to, people that you just want to learn from, and people that you think would give you really good advice. So you can put just people like historical figures or anything, and you just kind of would have like your ideas and your thoughts, and then you would consult them and you just tell them your thoughts, and then you are now in the position of like listening to what they have to say. So it's almost like you know what they're gonna have to tell you, and it's like you're giving advice to yourself but through them. So it's a really good concept if you want to feel more, I guess, secure in what you're doing and your choices that you make, because you now know that like, oh yeah, okay, this is something that this person would do, or this is what this person would like approve of, or this is their opinion, or this is their advice to me. Like, what would they say? Like, it's like the quote of like, what would Jesus do? Like, you can even put Jesus in your mastermind group. So that is definitely a must read, and this is a book that you definitely reread and reread and reread. So this is something you'd want to have the physical copy of. You don't want to just listen to an audiobook. This is something you really want to like highlight, make notes, do the actual work that they require you to do. And I noticed I have a bookmark in here. I think it's because I was like rereading it or something. But yeah, so definitely pick this book up in general. Even if you're not in business, like this book is just good for attracting wealth and just being more comfortable with finances and money. Okay, the next book is Becoming Bulletproof by Evie Poumpouras. So I stumbled upon this because of that Elevate Empower Women podcast. And this woman was a special agent in the United States Secret Service. And she talks about basically preparing yourself for any situation and wiring yourself for stressful situations, and how to cope with stress and how to become more resilient. Also, what I like about this book is that it teaches you how to protect yourself, in not just like the mental sense, but in the physical sense. So like things that you can do in your actual home that would protect you from like outside intruders and just keep you safe in general. So like talks about like even doors and the locks to use, and like how to read people's body language. It's a very, very good book if you're getting into like self-defense or self-protection, like reading people and all that type of stuff. So this is a really good book in terms of like that type of stuff. And the reading level is pretty easy. She's a very, very interesting person. I love watching her videos as well, like her podcast episodes as well. And I think this book is definitely worth a read, especially if you're a woman and you want to feel more confident with protecting yourself, with resilience and self-defense, and yeah, just being like prepared for any situation. So I feel like this book is definitely worth a read, but I do feel like this book can be like listened to in an audiobook, because it's not something that you want to like, you don't need to highlight it as much as you need to just like listen to the actual steps and just like maybe take notes on that. But if you want, like, it is, I guess, always preferred to get the actual physical book. Okay, so next is Wishes Fulfilled by Dr. Wayne Dwyer. So Wayne Dwyer is I guess you can say a goat in the spiritual community. He does a lot of life transforming for a lot of people. And this book was quite interesting. I felt like this was very enlightening. This book was really beautifully written. I felt very connected to this book and connected to God and the universe, because it mentions a lot about God and just source energy in general. This book is so beautiful. I want to read you guys a just part that I made a note of. Is I had to learn that every single one of God's children is doing what they know how to do, and I need to be able to love them, all of them, as our source of being loves them, without judgment, without condemnation, and without criticism. He puts a quote by Neville. I'm just gonna like read the little like part. And again, ego is edging God out. I love the way Neville speaks to this point. You never draw out of the deep of yourself that which you want. You always draw that which you are, and you are that which you feel yourself to be, as well as that which you feel is true to others. Another part. Assume the feeling of love throughout your body and live as if it were your reality. The feeling which comes in response to the question, how would I feel were my wish realized, is the feeling which should monopolize and immobilize your attention as you relax into sleep. You must be in the consciousness of being or having that which you want to be or to have before you drop off to sleep. So if my wishes were realized, how would it feel right here, right now in my body? Stay with that thought until you begin to feel your body shift into what that feels like. So this is like setting intention before you fall asleep. I absolutely love this book. This is definitely worth a reread if you feel like spiritually low and you just feel kind of disconnected. I feel like this is definitely a book to reach for. On the topic of spiritual books, we have Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. This is a book I'm sure a lot of people have already read. It is way beyond your expectations when you pick this book up. I feel like that's why it kind of blew up, was that once you read it, you're like, oh my gosh, because there's so much information in this book, and there's so much like studies, and there's so much he's doing in real life that's like insane. There's so much in this book. My favorite diagram is this diagram right here. It's our vibrations. So this is, maybe I'll just take a picture and put it up on the screen. I'll probably do that. So basically, this is the levels of energy. So our vibrations, if you're on a low vibration, you're gonna feel those emotions that are on the bottom. So like lust, pain, victimization, suffering, shame. And then as you go up the vibrational scale, a higher vibration is associated with like gratitude, appreciation, joy, love, freedom, bliss, wholeness. So these are higher vibrational feelings. And it's not that you increase your vibration and then you feel that. It's more that you make yourself feel these emotions and stick with them, hold the emotion, and then this is what's increasing your vibration. And I'm going to read another excerpt from the book. The more whole you feel, the less lack you experience, and therefore the less you want. When you create from a state of wholeness, there are only knowing and observing. This is the key to manifesting reality, being connected, not separate. When your consciousness merges or becomes more connected to the unified field, to the realm of wholeness and unity, there is no longer separation between 2 points of consciousness. This wholeness is then reflected in your biology, chemistry, circuitry, hormones, genes, heart and brain, thus restoring balance to your entire system. A message of wholeness, and as a result, you become more holy. This book is definitely worth a read. It is a little bit difficult if you don't understand any type of like science terms, but he does break it down, and there's a lot of graphs. There's like a middle part with like pictures, so you can kind of match pictures and visuals to the studies he's talking about. So I would definitely pick up this book. It's really, really worth a read, especially if you want to learn more about what our bodies are capable of and what the human spirit can do and how to heal yourself. Because a lot of people are so limited in what they think they can do and achieve. And so I feel like this book is really, really important for just understanding your potential as a limitless being. Okay, the next book is The Power of Persuasion by G. Ray Funkhouser. And this is a book that I just stumbled upon. This is a very old book. I think this is probably the oldest book in the, well, actually, other than Meditations by Aurelius. This book is from 1986. And this book I really, really enjoy, and I'm gonna get to the 48 Laws of Power. This book is a lot more manipulative and a lot more like power hungry in the sense of control, because this guy talks about power versus control and how like control is more evil and then power is more like it's more given to you, and then control is more like taken. So I feel like I really like the way that he puts the term of control and power and how he like breaks it up and how he makes it more moral. He gives you a sense of like more morality when you're reading it, so it's more applicable, I guess you can say, and it's applicable to more business and how to achieve success through that. So I feel like this book is really cool. I could read a lot of stuff from this, but I feel like this is about to be a long video. Just to give you guys an idea, I'm gonna read just a couple, I guess, sections. A power organization is one in which every member, to the maximum extent possible, is able to contribute to achieving the organization's objectives and at the same time achieve his own. Everyone concurs on the organization's goals, and the group's energy all goes in the same direction. Cooperation increases the group's overall effectiveness, moving everyone ahead together. People in power organizations find great joy in what they are doing. Many would do it for nothing. Being part of that kind of group is a priceless reward in and of itself. So it talks about like control organizations versus like power organizations. Control organizations, maybe you felt it in like a job that you were in where it's like very control, and it's not about like working together or like a common goal and like all of that teamwork. It's about like follow my orders and that's it. And this is all about like a power organization, like working together to a common goal to create a good like result. So like even says like organizations founded around an idea are more stable than those founded on personal advantage or interest. Meaningful work is essential for human happiness. Take advantage of every opportunity to learn and keep learning all your life. Don't worry if you can't answer all the questions in Trivial Pursuit or you aren't up on the latest sports stars or celebrities. That's only information. It won't help you, but knowledge will. Your life is not a trivial pursuit, and you cannot be powerful if you are ignorant. Learn what is important for your own life and leave the junk info to others. So I would recommend this book. It was an easy read, although it was kind of older language. I feel like it was very well written and more intelligently written. So I do like this book. Yeah, but there is a few outdated concepts, but the overall idea and a lot of the principles he talks about are very relevant and very important. That's definitely a book to reread maybe in the future, but it's not on my main reread list, but maybe like deep into the future or maybe like pass that book down. So the next book or the next set of books is the Robert Greene books, and I do love Robert Greene. I do have his other book. I do have Mastery, but I haven't read this book yet. This is the newest addition to my Robert Greene collection. I'm excited to read this book, but it's very dense, as is all of his other books. But the books that I have read, and these actually both look bigger than Mastery, these are very, very dense books, and the reading level is fine. I loved reading it. Like, it wasn't hard, difficult to understand. It's just such a dense book, and it's like takes so long to read. If you've ever read Robert Greene, you know that he writes in the sides. So you'll read, and then there'll be the side scripts. So it'll be like this, and then there'll be like side stories. And these are usually like historical stories and things from other pieces of literature. I feel like this book was very good in helping you understand how other power people and control people work, and how to see past those things, as well as like if you are put in situations where you're up against control people, I'm referring to how this book kind of puts it, how to deal with those people. So, and how to get around it and how to get your way in a sense if you're in those situations. And also I want to like talk about the stigma behind these books. These books are like not manipulative and dark books. These books are like books to just equip yourself with knowledge. And like, even though I've read both these books, I'll forget the principles, and I like, it's not something I would do on a daily basis to anyone. So these are books that you just know the knowledge and you can refer back to them if you need in those situations. Because a lot of the time you're in situations where you need to like psychologically get your point across or something, and like everything's about psychology. Like if I need to go get my phone fixed and they're giving me a hard time, like how can I make it easier for myself? And sometimes you have to like kind of play with the customer service or just to make things easier for you. And it's by no means like harming people. But some people can use these books for bad, and some people can just use these books as just information. So it depends on how you read it and your motive. But these books are very well written. I actually really enjoy the stories he puts in these books. I learned a lot about a lot of ancient things and other traditions. Like he brings in so much like world history and mythology, and like it's amazing. Like the characters, like it's just really, really good on both these books. I feel like to read excerpts from this book would be impossible. Like there's a million things to say about this book, but this is the 48 Laws of Power, so it's 48 laws, 48, basically almost like 48 chapters. And then this one is, again, the same idea. It's about the different types of personality styles, or how do you put it? The 8 types. So there's 8 types of people. There's the like siren or reformed rake, the disappointed dreamer, the pampered royal, the new prude, the crushed star, the novice, the conqueror, the professor, the drama queen, like the idol worshiper, the lonely leader. There's a bunch of them. It's a good book for information on other people, especially like maybe in relationships. You can see how like different people are in relationships. Like there's many different styles of people, and it's interesting how people will seduce the masses. So he talks about like Marilyn Monroe or Cleopatra, and how what their type of style is of like personality, and how that worked its magic on other people around them, like the seduction techniques that were subconscious. It was very indirect and things that they didn't even realize they were doing, but he kind of pulled like points from them and how they lived their lives and how they got like the recognition and like, I guess you can say, the popularity that they did. So that is my little book review, which is not really a little book review, but I definitely will make a part 2 to this in the future, but this is basically what it is now, and I'm going to cut the video off now, guys, or else it's going to be way too long. Thank you guys for watching this huge long book review. I will see you guys in my next video.